want to thank you guys, all the guys from Seceon, Chandra, and crew for inviting us here, and our staff and making us welcome. We did a great time rolling last night. A little bit about Highwire. We were founded early 2000 around the simple premise of delivering services initially in the United States. It's expanded around the world. We deliver services for other resellers, other VARs, other VADs, other technology manufacturers. We don't work directly with end users, never have, and we've continued to scale through good fortune, great customers, and generally good service. The thing about good service, by the way, is it's fantastic, except it only helps you retain customers, doesn't help you get new ones. So we've lived with that motto and always try to find new and creative things we can do for our customers. That led us into a simple understanding that we deliver lots and lots of different types of services, from professional services, managed services, feet on the street, rack stack. And as our clients and our staff were looking at what's next, we had some internal discussions on it. We were pushed into the security business and really drawn into it by our clients, where they wanted to go, what everybody was doing, and a simple understanding that came through the process of talking to our customers that they trust us. We talked to them at length about what we were looking to do, how we were looking to accomplish it. Spent a lot of time understanding what our clients needed, what their clients needed, and what we found was that it was so important to them that even though security was new to us, we were bringing in experts to do it, but most importantly, we had their trust. And by having that base to work from, that security was new, but delivering services was not, and we could easily work off a common foundation. So that was very important to us. We set up on a path and looked at different products that were out there. We were looking for a relatively fast route to market, relatively speaking, because I think in building a security operations center and a platform of services to deliver, we were really focused on good technology, solid technology, proven technology, but how do we get it into the marketplace fast? How do we focus our time and energy on the human part of the equation, the security operations center, the people, all of those things. So that led us to AlientVault, which turned into be quite a debacle for us, to be perfectly candid. It had nothing to do with the technology, but the acquisition by AT&T became a huge issue. As I mentioned, we're a channel organization, and for us to be channel friendly, we needed to have technology that supported that story and supported our approach to market. With AT&T's acquisition of AlientVault, that put us in quite a bind, because nobody exactly views AT&T as channel friendly. They're a great customer of ours and have been for almost 20 years, but nobody wanted them in control of their clients' assets. So it was a huge issue for us. The other thing that we were already struggling with was sort of a lack of flexibility with the product and a pricing model that left us feeling like in any given month we were only off by one, sometimes 2 zeros. So it could be 800, it could be 8,000, it could be 80,000. It depended on with the events per second pricing model. It was incredibly challenging to predict our costs and therefore put forth a pricing model that we knew would sell. We had spent 6 months talking to clients about their frustrations, and we know from selling services that if you can't box it up nice and tight, it doesn't sell. So we were really struggling with that. We made the decision, I think it took longer than I've been talking, or less time than I've been talking, I'm sorry, to make the decision that we needed to move on when the acquisition was announced. And for us, we call it a beautiful accident. We would like to say that we were really super smart and set out to find the best product, and that's what led us to Seceon in the first place. But it's not true. That accident led us to Seceon because we reviewed our process. We reviewed all of the vendors that we had looked at when we made the selection of AlientVault, and Seceon was a new entrant in the race. One of our guys who I trust decided we needed to take a look at it. We came into that process very skeptical because none of us had ever heard of Seceon, and we were frankly looking for, as part of our story and part of our marketing, we felt it was very essential to have a partner that had some credibility because we weren't sure of our own. So AlientVault had some brand recognition and some panache in certain segments of the market. So we were skeptical about the entire process. We do some software development of our own. We have a gentleman who does all our development, leads all our development, and is very well versed in machine learning and AI. And the first demo we had, I'm not sure if I've ever told Chandra or any of the other people sitting here, he told me no effing way that they could do what they said it was going to do. And that was his exact words. An hour and a half later, he was doing a complete 180, and over the next few weeks, with everything that we saw, he continued to be impressed, and even conceded, if any of you do development or know developers, this might have been the toughest moment of his life, even conceded that it was beyond his comprehension how they were doing certain pieces of it. So we overcame that initial skepticism very quickly. We tested it a little bit. We saw more and more. So we made a decision to move forward with Seceon as a partner because on top of the technology, what we saw was a company that was incredibly flexible. Everything that we suggested or put on the table as things that we needed, they were willing to work with us, and that became incredibly important. We had some early trials with other MSPs who are our customers who are looking for, from their perspective, they're looking to get into the business as quickly as they can. So our offering started to gain momentum. We had lost 2 or 3 months in the process, and as we reconfigured the offering and brought about a better story, a better product, a better platform, we started gaining a tremendous amount of momentum. So we've built on that with our clients, and we even revisited people that we sought out early in the process who were either unimpressed by AlientVault or unimpressed by our story. And when we went back and revisited with those people, things changed very quickly. We were able to talk to them, and we found our voice around the platform in this entire process. And we were able to talk to them about a little bit different story. And the AI and machine learning was incredibly important, but what we realized was that we were starting to solve some business problems. So we set out in some trials with clients, and what we found is every time that we deployed, we found problems quickly, sometimes within as little as 30 minutes, sometimes inside a week. And we had MSPs who were incredibly skeptical, skeptical about the technology, skeptical that we could find things as fast, skeptical that we could be as responsive and customize our processes to the way they wanted it to work. We overcame that rapidly with trials, and we continued to talk to our partners as they go to market and talk to them about getting customers. The best way to sell this is it's a very easy to deploy system. We've deployed in as little as 4 days. 5 days, but there was 2 days off there for the weekend. So it was about 3 business days. We've had deployments on site, and that was in New York. We're based in Chicago for what it's worth. We were able to get that client on board in those 3 business days, and in another 2 days, we were already spotting rogue traffic. A couple days after that, we realized we were able to point to them that they had a 0-day malware already on their network before we had ever arrived. They had been scanning that server over and over and over and couldn't find it. So we've seen that time and time again when we've deployed with our MSPs. Part of our process is to deploy for our MSP partners who are going to resell our platform, then where the Seceon is the flagship product in the platform. There's about 4 or 5 other complementary technologies, but we lead with the SOC as a service. And we onboard them because, number one, that's the table stakes of talking to the customers. They can't be talking to customers if they're not on a solid footing and using the product. And number two, we want them to be able to onboard their clients, so we take them through the process and understand it. What we found in doing that, that was our design all along, what we found in doing that is that for them, the proof is truly in the pudding. And every time that we walk them through it and they start to gain information on their network, they're gaining insights from this tool that they didn't have from all the sophisticated tools that they already had on their network. And they tell us over and over how grateful they are for that piece of it. Their clients are gaining that same insight every time. Even just knowing what's on their network is novel for most of them, because when we talk to customers about how many devices they have and those things, what we found is nearly 100% of the time, whatever they give us is garbage in terms of access. They have no concept of how many cameras they have throughout their facility, how many IoT sensors are riding a network, how many people come and go and put their devices onto the network in a given day. They're not even thinking about those things. So we've seen rapid success and rapid adoption with customers being able to trial very quickly, get it out, get it deployed, get them on board, and let the customer see that information. It's the best selling tool that there is for them to actually see it and try it. And it's a very low cost of entry into a sale compared with some of our MSPs telling us that they traditionally have 90 to 120 day sales cycles, sending between 2 and 4 people to the customer over and over and over and over again for meetings. To be able to deploy in a virtual container, show them what's going on in a virtual collector, show them what's going on in a matter of weeks. It's a few $100s worth of time and effort to get it up and get it doing some basic collection and some basic demo for them. It's a much more powerful tool. So that's been our story. What we noticed almost immediately is that when we started deploying this tool and we started looking at the staffing models and the cost models that we had built around a SOC with AlientVault, our staffing models have plummeted. I've seen some statistics in the marketing materials and things like that. I'm here to tell you that we're running way lower manpower than some of the marketing that's out there. The reduction for us in manpower has been closer to 80% reduction in what we forecasted. The ability of the machine learning to solve a lot of problems or to make rapid suggestions to our analysts has cut down on our tier 2 and has far more enabled our tier 1 analysts to be useful quickly. So as our team has gotten more and more well versed in the Seceon tool, and as the tool has continued to advance, what we're finding is we're saving hours per incident that would have had to happen in just the researching when you look at some of the older style tool sets, which frankly we view just about everything out there as an older style tool set. Everything we looked at was ultimately based on the same technology. So we've seen significant advancements. What that means for us is that, and this is where we really found our voice with our partners and what our partners are starting to parrot out to their customers. What it means for us is that we're solving a couple of critical business problems. We went to RSA, spent a couple days out there wandering around, and I felt like every day was deja vu all over again. We were looking at 700 or 800 booths out there, an entire Moscone Center full of the same stuff over and over. It was like being at Mall of America, where there's 600 stores owned by like 6 major brands. So we saw this over and over. So what we realized is there's a tremendous problem out there in the marketplace. Everybody talks about the lack of skilled people. That's definitely an issue. There's 1,200 point solutions out there that everybody's competing for the end user's attention. Every time they buy one of them, it creates more information, shows more problems, things they have to fix, exacerbating the people problem that we have. So what we've realized is that we have a powerful technology story with our partnership with Seceon, and we're continuing to work together to make it even better. But more importantly, we have a practical solution for a customer. We're not out there selling snake oil. We're trying to solve a business problem. Every tool has its challenges. We feel that we've selected the best UTM platform, the most flexible, and the best partner to put our customers and their customers in a good place, to put them on a proactive footing as opposed to constantly reacting. But more importantly, we're showing them how to cost effectively solve this business problem of weeding through all the noise of this solution, that solution. We've condensed and consolidated an entire series of point solutions into the Seceon solution. So we bring 6 or 7 key elements into one. we manage it for them, and we're able to deliver on their behalf. For our MSP clients, it's important that they continue to own the customer. We don't own the customer, we don't own the paper. They're building their brand value. They're able to get to revenue recognition. On average, our VARs sign their first deal in under 60 days. It's running about 35, 36 days. They're able to go out and get a deal together. Some of them have brought us their first contracts in as short as 10 to 12 days. They had them probably in their pockets, I would assume, but we're getting quote opportunities from the time we sign a contract with an MSP. They're bringing us quote opportunities in less than a week. And then that sales cycle, like I said, is a lot of them for their first is another 30 or so days. So that's pretty impressive. And the way we're accomplishing that is by giving them the opportunity to do these demos, bring customers on quickly, and showing them how well the technology works, giving them an easy out if they don't buy into it. But so far, candidly, with our since we brought Seceon into the platform, with all of the MSPs we've talked to, we had exactly one say no to us. They didn't like the dashboard, which told us that they were more interested in aesthetics than efficacy. So that's probably not a great partner for us. So that's been our journey. We couldn't be happier. We continue to bring forth ideas, and Chandra and the team have been incredibly receptive to integrating other pieces with us. We're trying to add some of our own intellectual property to the mix and bring forth some more, a better value prop to our MSPs who just candidly, a lot of folks don't have the financial wherewithal, the time, or the intellectual horsepower to put together a SOC that's NIST compliant, which we expect to be in short order this year. We'll be going through our audit on that. So we're trying to bring it forth in that fashion and deliver, and we just couldn't be happier with all that. I'm sure if you guys are using the platform, you've all experienced the same sort of results that we have. So I don't have anything more to add to that. I thought I'd leave a few minutes here if there's any questions about what our experience has been, with the caveat that I might be the least technical person in our organization. So I might have to defer to Michael technically in the background, or write down your question. I got some awesome guys who are actually out in Vegas today at Channel Partners, but more than happy to answer anything I can on the business proposition side of it, or a little bit technically what we've seen.
Any questions?
What would be the target market that most of your MSPs are going after, both vertical and size of the enterprise?
Geez, I wish I'd have handed you that question, because that's Chandra must have given you that one, because that's a great question. That's one thing that changed very significantly actually with Seceon, and we didn't do it by design. Again, I would love to say that we're really super smart guys, but what we found was that when we were initially working with AlientVault, the target segment was the small to medium enterprise, a couple hundred assets to a couple thousand. We didn't feel that the platform scaled well into the very, very high end. And what we thought was that those customers in particular had either their own SOC, which a lot of them have a SOC, or a guy who is their SOC or something like that, a series of tools that are being poorly managed, if at all. So we had an impression that that market would be a little tougher to penetrate. When we moved to Seceon and started revisiting some of our customers, and our customers range, our top 10 customers are multi-billion-dollar plus resellers. So we're talking about people who we service, just to put it in perspective, we service on a day in, day out basis the largest financial institutions in the world, healthcare organizations, insurance organizations, biggest manufacturing industrial type clients that we deliver complex networks. We're building a data center a week in Europe for companies the ilks of like Microsoft and Amazon and those sorts of players. So just physically building those pieces for them. So our clients have access to that type of clients and institutions. So all of a sudden with the Seceon platform, when we started kind of retelling the story and recasting it and sharing with them the technology we were using, the higher end of that market opened up to us like that. It was, like I said, not at all by design, but the skepticism went away. The scalability issues that people felt that AlientVault had, and we did too. I mean, we did not see it as a high-end enterprise platform. We saw it as a low-end platform, but our experience with it has been, we've had a couple of customers come on who have, as Tom is constantly calling, amazed at the amount of information they're deluging us with. I mean, we've seen an unbelievable capacity throughput. We have one customer that on some days has a couple hundred assets that we're looking at, and on other days has thousands, 5, 6, 7,000. That customer put like 2.2 billion events through our APE in, what was it, a week? So yeah, we've had 300 or 400 million events from that same customer in a matter of a couple days. I'll tell you, the worst day we had with that customer in particular, and this is a testament to the software, the worst day we had, out of those 300 plus million events that we saw, we had 37 alerts. It took about 5 minutes per alert when it was all said and done, and it was obviously thousands of underlying issues, but that really convinced us. That was the first customer we brought on, and that really convinced us from a scalability standpoint that we were onto something fantastic, and that we then went back to the drawing board, and Tom and Chandra and the really great smart people on my team all got together out here in Boston and sat down and kind of revisited how we were going to market with that, because it opened our eyes and opened some doors, and we're now looking at deals that are 10,000 asset type deals.
So one follow-on to that. So in those upper-end enterprises that have significant investment in a SIEM platform, I think there's a bias towards the investment that they've made. Mm-hmm. I think they also recognize a lot of the challenges that they have with it. How are you augmenting that, like in your story? And who's the target? Are you going at the CISO level? Are you at an analyst level, or both?
So I think and I'm actually going to be spending the next, this afternoon and evening and tomorrow with one of our partners who's got some very, very large customers. So we've been talking with them. They're connected generally at the C-level across the board with their customers. And our position in the marketplace is a little different because we're not directly working with the end user. We're in a lot of these conversations because the customer wants to know who is behind all of this, right, ultimately. And so our customers, however, generally have what we've positioned is for them to leverage their value add. We always want them to be talking about what their value add with the customer, which is usually relationships, or they do a lot of security consulting with the customers. So they're already connected at the right level. We're not actively pursuing customers today who have their own SOC. Some of them have their own SIEM, but those who do that we've been talking to are at a point where they're abandoning it. What has triggered them to do it? I don't know. My conjecture would say that they realize they don't have the manpower to do it. And because when every one of them we talk to is already overworked, they're trying to shoehorn it into an IT team that is taxed to the max. This is the piece that I've learned. The traditional networking guys and things that are trying to do this, they all think they know a whole hell of a lot about it, but they don't. They're trying to approach the customer oftentimes in the wrong way. They're protecting the front door and leaving the back door wide open. So our partners who are focused on that enterprise segment are taking a very, very consultative approach to it. They're already connected to the customer. And I don't think they're actively pursuing customers who have their solution trying to displace it. What they're finding is there's way more than enough that are doing nothing or are abandoning what they were doing because it's not working. And we're actually talking to a couple of folks about bringing them onto our team who are CISO, or in one case, a deputy CISO of a very, very large retailer. And when we talk to them, it's astounding their vantage point on the world from the customer side. As the customer, they dislike most of their vendors. They are not at all satisfied with what their corporate direction is, and they will tell us privately that security is a joke in their organization, like they are not secure. One said, "Don't use a credit card at our organization." That was pretty alarming. But but what they have said is they absolutely, the reason they want to come on board, they've sought us out, and when we talk to them about what we're using and how we're doing it, they've been incredibly impressed with the whole story and how it all works, because they have teams that are way overtaxed and way underperforming. So I think I'm getting the impression there's a hell of a lot more of those that are out there than those that are looking to do it themselves. I'm surprised at the trend for outsourcing SOC. So
Thanks.
I'm being alarmed. I've been kicked out of better places than this.
When you're selling a solution to MSPs, so how do you structure kind of end client onboarding as far as the data sources? Like, do you shift it to the MSP, hook whatever they want?
That's a great question. So, yeah. So he asked how we, when we're selling through an MSP, how we handle the data sources onboarding piece of the process. The answer is all of the above, from here to here. So we have where we are shifting our spend now. As I mentioned, like when we look at the SOC staffing elements of it, we've seen dramatic reductions in what we modeled. So what we're shifting our spend is, of course, in marketing. We talk about anytime we're talking, we're always selling, right? But more importantly, now we're starting to add to our service delivery team. And we're spending a lot of time nailing down our processes and helping our MSPs nail down their processes, because getting the logs pointed, getting all of that information going the right direction is a little more challenging than most of them seem to understand. So our initial concept was that we were going to push all of that to them. What we've found is they struggle because they've skipped a few steps in the sales process. They don't have as good a handle on the customer's network as they thought they did, and they need a lot of help with that. So we will be doing more of that on a for-profit basis. That'll be a pro service piece that we'll do for them. We're going to make it fairly painful and expensive so that they're incentivized to get their own team to do it. But as we'll have the most repetitions at it, we should be able to do it quickly and effectively. But we're gonna have to work. A lot of that is customer dependent, and the way we're going to continue to drive the customer to participate in the process is to, pull the lever and start the meter. You're paying, so you might as well get your butt in gear and cooperate with us to get this going. So it's been a challenge. It's something that we are prepared to do for them, but we want them doing themselves. And we've added a couple of strong members of our team that we're doing other things that are going to be really focused on teaching partners how to do it. And we're creating a lot of video content. So we're creating a lot of our own internal content, everything from how to operate the SIEM platform, the aiSIEM, to how to onboard customers, how to get logs pointed, how to do those things, because we need to be able to just keep repeating the same processes and the same things for our partners and get them doing the same.
Thank you.
We've also added some hard stops into our onboarding process where we won't move forward unless we have your asset list, versions,
Yep.
model numbers, all that stuff. That way we don't run into anything that's not tested on Seceon side or creating problems in the actual installation and pointing into it.
Yeah, that goes to the fact that our partners, a lot of them are network centric and have, they skip a lot of steps in the sales cycle. So they don't pay a lot of mind to whether or not something is even up to date, right? I mean, we're seeing, end of life, end of support servers and things like that out there that they shouldn't even have on the network anyways. They're gaping security risks as it is. So a lot of unpatched stuff, things like that too. So it's a great, Michael's point is probably the best point, is process. And with our service delivery management team, we're tightening that up literally every day. I believe I learned at an MIT class a few years back, probably almost 2 decades back, I guess now thinking about it. But we believe that every process is inherently flawed because it was only as good as the data you had the day you put it in place. Every day we learn more, and we are drinking from the proverbial fire hose with everything we learn every time we bring a customer on. So our biggest challenge right now is version control because all our documentation is changing fast. So. Cool. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate the time.